Okay, let's be frank with each other. Have you ever bought something that you didn't need, only to regret it later? It may have not happened straight away. It may have been days, weeks, or even potentially years later. Or worse, have you felt that quick high from shopping, followed by horrific guilt? Well, if you have, you're not alone. And today, we are diving into the emotional side of shopping and how we break free from bad habits. I went on a 3-year no-buy, and I didn't realise how much of my shopping was tied to my emotions. And that could be stress, boredom, or even excitement, really. But once I saw that pattern, everything changed after that. I've recognised that almost all of my shopping stems from my insecurities. And my biggest insecurity for most of my life has been my intelligence. I think, personally, that I'm ridiculously stupid. And as such, I tend to chase buying things that will hopefully make me less stupid. So, as you can tell, that's primarily books. But not only books, it could be courses at university and even my PhD. Now, there's a chance that you too will be shopping for some emotional need, which may or may not be an insecurity. So it may be insecurities about how you look or how popular you may or may not be, how rich you want others to think you are, etc. And the art of no-buy and stopping shopping requires you to first identify those triggers. So hi, if you're new here, my name is Cinzia, and together we are going to talk about why shopping is so emotional. So let's first talk about the science of shopping. We all know that retail therapy is a real thing, but it's not really the kind of healthy therapy we all need. But contrary to popular belief, the happy hormones, such as dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins, aren't released when you buy an item. They start much sooner, such as the moment the sale email lands in your inbox and you open it. When you pop something into your cart, that's when you get a kick of them. And the more items you add to your cart, the more of the buzz you'll feel. You see, it's the possibility of buying something that you're finding exciting. You get a kick of hormones by just going to a Christmas market or by browsing online when you're bored. And that's because the anticipation of buying reinforces a sense of personal control over your environment and its outcomes, which, let's face it, is something millions of people around the world are desperate to feel in our current socio-political climate. It also explains why people from low-income backgrounds are more likely to go into debt for Christmas. It's escapism from one's reality. Over the past few years when I've done videos on no-buy, I used to get really frustrated when people commented on my no-buy videos in the past saying, "Welcome to my life, I don't have money, so I don't shop in the first place," because quite frankly, that's a lie, and it completely overlooks how much debt people are in globally. If people only spent what they had, debt would not exist, and people get into a lot of debt at Christmas, and that is why I'm so passionate about talking about the psychology of spending. It's not limited to how much you have. More people will spend more money they don't have just as an escapism. So according to Credit Connect, 2/3 of people use retail credit to pay for Christmas, and 64% of those people struggle to repay it. 28% of all credit-using consumers fall into collections or arrears of their Christmas purchases. The report revealed that retail credit users spend on average £1,012.55 over the holidays, and £759 of that was financed through retail credit. And as of November 2024, in the US, 28% of credit card users are still paying off last year's holiday debt. So let's talk about the emotional triggers that may cause you to spend money you don't have. We have the obvious, which is stress and anxiety. Shopping feels like something we can control when everything else in our life is out of control. Similarly, boredom. Scrolling through online stores becomes a pastime, and seeing what influencers are selling to you, particularly if you use TikTok, just becomes a hobby. Additionally, celebration. We tend to treat ourselves because we deserve it, so that's where a lot of money goes too. But the main buyers are loneliness and sadness. Buying something new feels like filling a void, but that rarely lasts. It normally ends when the package arrives at your door. The first step to breaking a bad habit is recognising it. The practical ways to identify your shopping patterns are to keep a spending journal As you go into this season, write down what you buy, why you buy it, and how you felt before and after. That includes gifts you are buying for other people and the amount you're spending. Do you feel good about spending that amount, or do you not? The same with the food purchases for this season. In fact, this is the best season to do it. It sounds like a lot of work, but you are shopping at your most here. And you will see if you slip something for yourself into a cart. You will see when you buy something on TikTok. You will see when you buy something from Instagram ads. Write it all down, every single purchase, and most importantly, write about how you feel before the purchase or as you're buying it and afterwards. Similarly, what you can do is also pause before purchases, which is what I've done over my no-buy years. It's the most effective method I have used when stopping to buy something. Ask yourself, do I need this? Why do I want this? And will I still want this in a week? What I ended up doing was putting something in my cart and leaving it there. I can guarantee you within 48 hours, you will forget about that thing. However, if you are still thinking about that item in over 30 days, you're more likely to want to buy it, and that's more sincere. So what are the signs that you are emotionally shopping? First, we have impulse buys. That's when you buy it, when you see the ad, and you just pop it in your cart and buy it then and there, and don't leave it even 48 hours, let alone a week. 2, a feeling of a rush or a high once you buy something, and a similar rush and high when you get that package from the postman or mailman, whatever you have. And the third sign are feelings of regret or guilt after you've made a purchase. Again, this may not be instantaneous, it could be months down the line. Look back on big purchases you've made throughout this year and identify if you've ever felt regret or guilt for buying that purchase. Write that down in a journal. So finally, let's talk about breaking the habit. The first thing to do is to reframe shopping as a tool, not a solution. So instead of buying something to feel better, I started asking myself, what do I really need right now? More often than not, the answer wasn't a new book, but time away from the computer, a need to slow down, a need to write down my thoughts and think about things creatively. Usually I can actually answer a lot of my solutions by just going to the library, asking a librarian for help, and usually a lot of the time actually asking anyone for help. I would buy things when I felt like I was helpless and needed someone to give me the answers. I would spend more money when I was looking for answers for something. In reality, I just needed to talk to someone, whether that was a friend or even just someone on the street, someone online, whatever it was. More often than not, I needed help, and that help signified that I actually felt lonely. So identify yours as you go through this. Obviously, this is just purely mine, but hopefully something like this is resonating with you. Now let's talk about the practical tips. Write down a list. If you want to buy something, have a list for things that you want to buy with the date and wait 30 days before you buy that thing. If you still want it after 30 days and you keep thinking about it, excellent, you probably really, really want that thing. However, if you kind of look at your list in 30 days' time and go, oh, I didn't even remember that, scrap it off the list, you didn't want it in the first place, it's fantastic. The second thing is to set a budget or no-buy rules. So limit how much you can spend or challenge yourself to not buy anything of yourself for a month and continue rolling that if you are successful. Next thing to do is to replace the habit of shopping. So when you feel the urge to shop, find an alternative rather than ticking in a box. That could be journaling, going for a walk, picking up a book, writing it down, sending a text to your friend, something, anything. Break the urge to buy. Don't click buy, don't go to checkout, all that stuff. Break the habit. And the most important thing, and the final thing, is to address the underlying emotions. So I need you to explore the emotions you feel when you're adding things to your cart, whether that's excitement, thrill, what are you trying to escape when you are purchasing something? Shopping is purely a band-aid. The real work is identifying and addressing what's beneath all of that. And that takes a lot of time, but trust me, journaling is the answer. It sounds like a lot of work, but when you see it written down there, trust me, it unfolds itself very, very, very quickly. So please have a book, a notebook. You don't need to go buy a new one, for goodness sake. I'm sure you have a notebook somewhere where you can use that instead. If you're scared of starting a notebook in the middle of it, then go to the back of the notebook and work backwards. That's a way to save money. Stop buying new notebooks. I know you're one of those that does it. And let's talk about the benefits of breaking free of a shopping habit. And talking as this someone from many years ago. Obviously, I used the money that I saved on a minimum wage to pay for the PhD that was unsuccessful, but I still benefited from that. I still learned a lot. The other things that you can gain from this is more financial freedom, having those savings, having breathing space, not feeling really overwhelmed, because trust me, shopping is actually really overstimulating, and you don't realize that you're kind of addicted to that overstimulation. You're scared of the silence, of not having things arriving, not needing more. You have better emotional health after you stop buying things for yourself. Trust me, it becomes less overwhelming. You also have greater satisfaction in things that you already have. You take out those notebooks, you look at those highlighter pens, you read those books that have been sitting on your shelf for months and months and months, maybe potentially years. You use those crafts that have just been sitting there that you bought 3 years ago. Similarly, you can look at your wardrobe and you can maybe sell some of the stuff online if you don't really wear it, or embrace wearing fancy clothes on a daily basis, because why not? Why are you wearing sweatpants all the time when you could be wearing that pretty skirt that you've only worn for special occasions? Bloody wear it! It's wasting away in your wardrobe. Since cutting back on emotional shopping, I've learned to love the things that I own and value the experiences of things over and over and over again. And the final thing is, breaking the habit is not about deprivation. People always say, oh, that's really depriving. No, it's not. It's a privilege to buy things. It's not about depriving oneself. It's about creating space for things that truly matter. It's about embracing what you already have. It's about looking at your life differently rather than looking at it through a bloody screen and clicking buy, and watching your number go down and then remembering to pay that bill on time and your credit card bills coming in. It's genuinely about slowing down. I think a lot of our impulse shopping has come from social media overstimulation, and we're just rolling with it. We're not really taking time to be mindful of things. So please, trust me, it's not about deprivation at all. So final thoughts. Emotional shopping is something so many of us struggle with, but the good news is you are not stuck. By recognizing the patterns and making small changes, you can take control of things, and it's incredibly freeing. Trust me. So I'm going to ask you, have you struggled with emotional shopping? And what helped you break the habit if you have been successful in doing that? And if you're not, what are you scared of? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and everyone else can chime in and help you with things because they may relate. You may have struggles with certain things that you buy and someone else in that comment section has overcome it. Please share your advice and wisdom and be supportive to one another in the comments down below. If you like these kind of videos, please consider liking and subscribing. I'll be doing more about no-buy and just being philosophically inclined in your lifestyle as someone who is neurodivergent. Thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you soon for another video. And remember, books save lives, so keep reading.